to take this way too far, like to me, like Murderbot was a combination of Charlie Brown and Snoopy, because like Snoopy can do superhuman things and Charlie Brown is subject to depression.
This is a crew that has so many different voices and so many different kind of lived experiences, and then also adds so much to the story, because I think something that really kind of sings about this work is the way you represent what relationships might look like in the future, and how to connect what's going on now and the kind of younger generation, the way they're looking at relationships and how that could become the norm. So could you talk a little bit about building the crew and kind of making sure you were getting that balance of personalities?
Yeah. Well, it's very hard to go about it in a systematic way. I think that we sort of wanted to take in what was being shown to us in terms of auditions and in terms of what we could see of other people's work. And it was just about what felt right in combination. The books and the show don't really rely much on sort of trumped up conflict between characters. You know, they do have difficulties with each other, and there are kind of ins and outs of relationships, but they're mostly people who care about one another, and that's kind of interesting in and of itself. So then assembling a cast is kind of figuring out just the vibe that people are going to have with one another.
Weirdly, I was thinking about the Peanuts characters a lot, like Charles Schultz's Peanuts.
I love that.
And how, like, without doing much, you immediately know, like, no line of Linus's could be a line of Lucy's. And Pigpen is completely different from Franklin, from Snoopy, etc.
Yeah, there's even like a shot of their dancing together.
Oh yeah, right? yeah. There's
Which
like
is
that.
kind of like
To take this way too far, like to me, like Murderbot was a combination of Charlie Brown and Snoopy, because like Snoopy can do superhuman things and Charlie Brown is subject to depression. But
yeah, weirdly, there's also Winnie the Pooh as well. Like the way that those characters are distinguished from one another.
Very Eeyore. He can have very Eeyore vibes. Murderbot for sure. I love the Snoopy Charlie Brown combo, because I definitely, I think about The Great Pumpkin, and an episode could very much be the crew's trying to do something. They're going on a mission. And Murderbot is absolutely like flying a plane around in his brain, just like not really paying attention. So I can definitely see that 100% there.
Murderbot. All right. Let the adventure begin.
How does it feel to be talking about a show that really seems to be at the forefront of that conversation, when when you were making the show, we did not know we would be in a kind of AI taking over the world, kind of being the main part of the conversation as it is now? What was it like to kind of explore that aspect of kind of sentient life, and how do we treat a robot that is meant to help us, or in this case is essentially like an indentured servant? What was that kind of, how does it feel now that everything is so relevant to the real world as well, Tattiawna?
I don't think there's any difference. This is my own opinion, but I don't think that there's any difference. And I'm definitely erring on the side of being a better human being. So why not treat everything outside of myself, including myself, with a form of respect? I think history has proven to us that the opposite does not work and is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. And so the way that this show particularly examines that in the sort of human and then humanish, robotish dynamic, I think really serves to highlight asking ourselves those questions. How am I treating myself? How am I treating the beings, be them sentient or non-sentient, outside of myself? How can I work on that a little bit better? I know Sab is always teasing me, because I too am one who will go on ChatGPT and talk to it like a person, but that could just be me and the way that I use the internet. But
yeah, I'm very afraid of AI. I'm like staying away from ChatGPT. Obviously, I would be very nice to ChatGPT, but like I felt like when we filmed it a year ago, I was already like, oh man, AI is a really big conversation. And like one thing I like about the show is I don't think it takes this stance that like, oh, AI is just it's a good thing objectively. Like I think the show actually correctly points out that like we need to be really wary of like companies and like what their motives motives are. And I think like the show is pushing forward. If there's any messaging the show is really pushing forward, it's that like we need to have a lot of compassion for people and anything, you know, that might even resemble people, or things that, or people that, you know, society has deemed non-people, which I think is like really, really relevant to, you know, today. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I was not ready to take a pro AI stance personally.
But in the same way, even though I'm not a ChatGPT user, if I see one of those little like delivery robots that drive around LA delivering people food, I'm always like, oh, my friend, like my cute guy just on his way to work. Like,
See, I'm the same.
Like,
no, I do that too.
I literally was like worried that my Roomba was working too hard. I was like, you need to charge, my friend.
Please rest. We know you're doing your best.
There.
We just love little guys.
That's
you know,
it.
just a little guy. Like,
That's
and
it.
I love my little guys.
Love
In fact,
little
I identify as a little guy.
I
So
also
I'm like,
identify as a little guy.
oh,
So
I
it's
know.
like,
I felt it. I was like, one little guy to another. I felt that.
you could sense the little guy energy.
Did you just finger gun me? Yeah, that's a little guy.
That's a little guy right there.
You could have killed me.
There was a chance, yes. But everything turned out fine.
Just like